Hi, welcome back to English 111 Online. This week we are going to start working on our first core project assignment, which is the rhetorical analysis essay. So the things to do this week: view my video, which you're doing now, read pages 9 to 16 and 17 to 29 in your Little Seagull handbook to understand the writing process and the development of paragraphs, in case you need a review of that, or if you just need the information from the get-go, that information is there. Read pages 1 through 14 in Rereading America for an understanding of critical thinking and critical reading as it applies to our textbook and to this course. Read the introduction to Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg. That's the book that I told you is optional, so you do not have to have the book. I have a link to the introduction on the Moodle page that you can use. You don't have to have that book. It is optional. View the slideshow presentation on writing an essay. Read the document on fragments if you need more help with that, and on fused sentences and comma splices if you need more help with that. I have moved all of the extra help for the grammar and everything that will go with the inquisitive assignments up to that toggle that says inquisitive. So if you ever need any extra help on any of the activities that you're working on, there are some other documents there that can help you get some extra information on that stuff. And by the way, the inquisitive goes along with the Little Seagull handbook of the things that really matter in writing. So you can always refer to your Little Seagull handbook for more information on that. Graded assignments this week: complete the journal for rhetorical devices in the introduction to Lean In. Take the quiz on audience, purpose, all of the stuff that relates to that quiz. Work on the assigned inquisitive activities that are due by June 9th. Remember, June 9th is the last date that we can accept those assignments. And remember, too, that you can always work ahead on your inquisitive assignments. You don't have to wait. Those dates that are posted are the last date that they will be accepted. Read the Core Project 1 Rhetorical Analysis Document Essay. I'm going to go over that with you in just a minute. And read one of the assigned essays from Rereading America that goes to this assignment sheet document. It lists them there and the page numbers for them in the Rereading America text. But if you don't have your Rereading America yet, or you have the wrong edition of it, I have also included some links on the Moodle page that will help you so that you can just access them directly from this Moodle page. I want you to, after you read one of them, I said read one of the assignments. You don't have to read all three of them. If you want to read all three of them, great. Or read enough of them to make a decision on which one you're willing to read and begin to write on. But there's another journal for you to do where you note the rhetorical devices you find and complete the journal listing the devices that you note in a paragraph. Okay, so here are the resources for this week. The introduction to Lean In, as I said, if you don't have the book, just click this. It will take you to the website that has this introduction, and when it comes up, we'll take a look at it. So this is a web article. Notice how she starts, and we're talking about rhetorical devices. When we talk about rhetorical devices, we're talking about wording, language, the types of wording, the types of language that the author chooses to use in order to make her point. And one of the things that is a rhetorical device is an anecdote or a little short personal story. So this is how she starts. I got pregnant with my first child in the summer of 2004. At the time, I was running the online sales and operation groups at Google. I had joined the company 3.5 years earlier when it was an obscure startup with a few hundred employees in a rundown office building. By my first trimester, Google had grown into a company of thousands and moved into a multi-building campus. My pregnancy was not easy. The typical morning sickness that often accompanies the first trimester affected me every day for 9 long months. I gained almost 70 pounds, and my feet swelled 2 entire shoe sizes, turning into odd-shaped lumps. I could see only when they were propped up. I could see lumps that I could see only when they were propped up on a coffee table. A particularly sensitive Google engineer announced that Project Whale was named after me. Not very nice, is that? One day, after a rough morning spent staring at the bottom of the toilet, I had to rush to make an important client meeting. Google was growing so quickly that parking was an ongoing problem, and the only spot I could find was quite far away. I sprinted across the parking lot, which in reality meant lumbering a bit more quickly than my absurdly slow pregnancy crawl. This only made my nausea worse, and I arrived at the meeting praying that a sales pitch was the only thing that would come out of my mouth. That night, I recounted these troubles to my husband, Dave. He pointed out that Yahoo, where he worked at the time, had designated parking for expectant mothers at the front of each building. The next day, I marched in, or more like waddled in, to see Google founders Larry Page and Sergey Brin in their office, which was really just a large room with toys and gadgets strewn all over the floor. I found Sergey in a yoga position in the corner and announced that we needed pregnancy parking, preferably sooner rather than later. He looked up at me and agreed immediately, noting that he had never thought about it before. To this day, I'm embarrassed that I didn't realize that pregnant women needed reserved parking until I experienced my own aching feet. So, this is how she starts. The question is, why does she choose to start this introduction to her book about women being necessary to be leaning in instead of backing off to get equality in the workplace? And she starts it off, she chooses to use this story because using an anecdote or a story that other people can relate to is a great way to make a point. So that's why I believe that she chose it. So this is the kind of thing that we're looking at. When you read the rest of this, you're going to look for other rhetorical devices that she uses in order to convince women that they need to lean in for their own and speak up for their own equality. And so the first assignment related to that is, under the graded assignments, is this journal. And so to complete the journal, you click on it. And when it opens up, I have very specific directions here for what you're to do. And then when you're ready to write your paragraph, because I've asked for a paragraph with a topic sentence, and then some other examples of rhetorical devices that you noted, and tell where they are in the article. You don't have to give the page numbers, particularly when we do the essay. You'll need to make reference to them, and I'm going to teach you that next week. But for now, you know, if I were going to mention this thing about this anecdote, this personal anecdote, I would say she begins the essay with this. Okay, so when you're ready to do this, you just click on Start or Edit My Journal Entry. After you do that, you will be able to type your information in there. But make sure that that it's saved when you or that you post it. Let me see. Let's click on it and see what it looks like. So here the instructions are up here. Here's where you type in. It just gives you a little box right there. And then make sure when you're finished, you save the changes. Now, if you need to go back and work on it again later, you certainly can do that because you will be able to work on it, revise it, delete it, and start all over, whatever you want to. So that is the assignment related to that reading of the introduction to Lean In. I chose that because it was the Nash Reads book for this past year, and so being in the summer semester, it's still Nash Reads book. But also because she has very vivid rhetorical devices that you can see, and you can understand why she chose this language in order to help convince people. Okay, and then there are other things for you to read. All the resources are here. Writing an essay, Core Project 1 assignment sheet. Now this is the assignment sheet. This is not due this week. We're just going to start working on understanding what rhetorical devices are, and we're going to actually write the essay next week. And of course, you can always work ahead, as I've said, but the essay won't be due until June the 16th. So what this says, a rhetorical analysis of a close examination of how an author uses word choice, form, supporting evidence, and rhetorical techniques to achieve a tone and purpose. For this assignment, you will compose a rhetorical analysis essay that identifies and analyzes the effective rhetorical strategies in one of the texts listed below. Essay must include a thesis statement that makes a claim. Okay, so next week we'll talk more about this, so you'll be able to complete this. But here are the three texts. When should a child be taken from his parents? Page 51. Education, attentional disarray, 178, excuse me. And serving in Florida, page 368. You only have to do one of these, so look at them and see which one rings a bell with you and looks interesting enough to use for our first assignment. Okay, so back to my Moodle page. It won't go back. It will in a minute. It has to think about it for a while. If you do not have the text, or you have the incorrect edition of Rereading America, then you can. I have posted links for each of these three on the Moodle page, and you can use those instead of the I don't know why my thing won't go back where it's supposed to go, but it won't go back. Anyway, on the Moodle page, even though I can't show you right now because my computer is misbehaving, but there is another journal for you to write another paragraph similar to the one that I asked you to write about the introduction to Lean In for one of these three essays. So you can follow the same pattern and the same tips that I gave you in the first journal, except you're going to do it with this, with one of these three essays, because this is what we're going to expand into the essay that you'll submit by June 16th for your first Core Project 1 essay that will count 15% of your course grade. So it's really important, and obviously there's a lot of work to do this week, but there's also the opportunity to go ahead and see the big picture of what we're going to be doing the following week too. So I want you to get all that you can from this before I make the next week available to you, because I'm afraid you'll skip things that are important for your success. So this week, sometime during the week, I'll make the next week available so that those who are working ahead will have the opportunity to do that. I still can't get back to my Moodle page, but anyway, there we go. Yay! So here are the under the that's on last week. Here are the links here where you can access these: Serving in Florida, education, attentional disarray, and When Should a Child Be Taken. I particularly enjoyed Serving in Florida. The word choices that she uses to begin this is very entertaining as well as disgusting. But this is all about a person who has chosen to try to work some low-paying jobs just so she can see what it's like to try to make it on the kinds of jobs that people often have to do, and how hard it is, and how sometimes we have to work 2 or 3 of those in order to make ends meet. Attentional disarray has to do with technology and how it, although it helps us a lot, it can also discourage us, distract us, and keep us from learning what we're supposed to be learning. And then When Should a Child Be Taken talks about the complexities of the Child Protective Services system, and gives you a story of a young lady that lost her children because of, well, you read it and you'll see why she lost custody of her children. Here's the journal for Lean In. Here's the test, the little quiz for audience, purpose, and tone, and the essay essentials here. And then here's the journal for the rhetorical devices. So have a great week. Call on me if you need any help at all. I'll be glad to help you. And I'll see you next time.